In this lecture, we will analyze scene 4 and scene 5 of Act 2. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Paramita PM. This is Paramita and I welcome you to my channel once again. If you are new to my channel, I would request you to go through the content of my channel, and if you really find it helpful, then do like it, share it, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And now without any further ado, let's get into the lecture. In this lecture, we will analyze scene 5 of Act 4 of this play, The Alchemist. So, as we come to this scene, we find Dol enters the stage and she is in her fit of talking. She has descended into her state of madness. She talks about things which are hardly intelligible to Mammon, and in the meantime, Fez enters and he is informed by Mammon that she is in her fit, and Face says, "Death, sir, we are undone," which means that this is a disaster and now they have to do something in order to make her quiet. He also questions Mammon as to what made her get into this fit of talking. And Mammon says that he talked about the fourth monarchy and what he would raise with the philosopher's stone, and then suddenly she started talking about the four monarchies. So Face now tells Mammon that they have to do something to make her quiet, otherwise she will not stop. And if the doctor Subtle, who is referred to as the old man here, if he gets to know this, if he hears her, both of them will be reduced to ashes. And Doll and Face exit as Subtle enters. So Mammon tries to hide himself, and then Subtle says that he can sense some evil deeds are being done secretly in the house. And Mammon says that his intention is pure. There was no unchaste purpose. He had no unholy purpose. And then Subtle questions him that if so, if his intentions had been good, why did he run away? And Mammon admits that it was his mistake, and Subtle says that no, it was not his mistake, but rather it was his guilt that made him escape from his sight. So here in this line, when he says that if I found check in our great work within, when such affairs as these were managing. So what Subtle tries to tell Mammon here is that the great work that he has been carrying out of making the philosopher's stone is being stopped. And he says that something wrong has been going on in this house. And then he says that it has stood still this half hour. So here he tries his best to make Mammon feel guilty that he couldn't succeed with his experiments. Why? Because some immoral things were being done in this house which retarded the progress of his work, and that's why for the last half hour there has been no progress in his work. And then he inquires about his uh, assistant or Face, and then he says, where is the instrument of wickedness, my lewd false drudge? So he calls him an immoral false servant in the house. So he pretends to rebuke Face for making all these arrangements in the house. And Mammon speaks in favor of Face and says that he met the lady by chance and Face has nothing to do with it. And here Subtle tells Mammon that I wonder lest the blessing was prepared would so tempt heaven and lose your fortune. So he says that he has been preparing the philosopher's stone for Mammon, which is a blessing for him. But now what Mammon has done, he has offended heaven by his contact with this woman, and therefore he has lost his fortune. So naturally Mammon is shocked, he is disappointed to hear this, and he also tells Mammon that this this behavior of Mammon has retarded the work by a month. And Mammon asks if there is any remedy which can once again accelerate the process of making the philosopher's stone. And he tries to persuade him, saying that our purposes were honest, that he had no evil intentions, he had no unholy purpose, and he has not committed anything immoral, he has not committed any sin. So Subtle tells him that okay, if his intentions were honest, then it will be proved by the fulfillment of his hopes about the stone. And in the meantime, there is the noise of a sudden loud explosion, and Subtle pretends as if he has no idea about this explosion, and he says, what is that? And Face enters and informs both Subtle and Mammon that their purposes, I mean their experiments, are all destroyed. Everything, all the equipment, all the equipment in the room where they were carrying out the experiment has burst and broken into bits. Nothing is left, and Subtle pretends to faint, and somebody knocks at the door, and now Face tells Mammon that he should leave right away, because the sister, I mean Dol Commons. Okay, so the noble lady's brother, the Lord, has arrived, and he is also as furious as Dol Common. So Mammon is asked to avoid being seen by the Lord. And Mammon's greed once again surfaces when he continuously keeps on asking Face whether everything is lost or not, whether anything of the experiment of the philosopher's stone is saved or not, if any portion of it is left or not. And then Face tells him that it is he also accuses him, saying that his sensual pleasures have destroyed everything. So Mammon is responsible for this destruction. Oh, my voluptuous mind, I am justly punished. So Mammon also admits the same, that it is his sensual pleasures that have destroyed everything, and Face also keeps on emphasizing the same thing, and therefore Mammon says that finally no hopes are left for him. And Mammon also says, by mine own base affections, which means that his due to his low affections he has lost everything, and he says that it was his sin, and therefore they should forgive him. And Subtle, because he continues to pretend, he says that he is thankful that the roof is still there over their heads and has not fallen down because of the doings of this wicked man, that is Mammon. And Face therefore requests Mammon to get out of the sight of Subtle, because his presence makes him more and more sad. And so he says that, good sir, the nobleman will come too and take you. So it is better for you to go away from this place. Otherwise, if the nobleman comes and if he arrests you, then it will cause a tragedy. And Mammon says that, okay, sir, I will go. And Face also gives him a piece of advice. He tells him that he should go home and repent for his actions. And if he truly wants to do some penance, what he should do, he should uh, give £100 to the box at Bedlam. Bedlam is the lunatic asylum. So he says he should give as a charity £100 for the benefit of the lunatic asylum. And Mammon, like we have seen so far, he is completely blinded. Okay, and he's completely blinded by his greed, by his extravagant desires. So here also he continues to obey the commands of both Face and Subtle. And Face says that he will send someone to receive the money, to collect the money from him. And before Mammon leaves, he says that is no projection left will not be saved. I mean, whether nothing is saved that's good for medicine, thinkst thou? So he continues to ask Face if not even a portion of that philosopher's stone is left or not. And then face tells him that even if he, scrapes all the broken pieces, still it will not be enough to uh, feed his sensual passion. Will cure the itch, though not your itch of mine, sir. And then Mammon exits. And then Subtle and Face, they talk to each other, and Face tells Subtle that Mammon has left with a heavy heart because he wanted gold for himself, but at least they are happy because finally they have been able to get rid of him. So Subtle says that finally they are, free of all their anxieties. Finally they are free of all cares. And now Face tells Subtle that now he must pay attention to the Spanish Don. And Subtle also tells Face that he should go, he should go and greet his young widow, who by this time must have become a countess. Okay, so he should go and greet her as a bridegroom should do. And Face also consents to what he says. And Saril says, then off with your case and greet her kindly as a bridegroom should, like I said. He is thus asked by Subtle to do the same, like to go and greet Dame Pliant like a bridegroom and treat her as a bride. And Face tells him to go and deal with the Spanish Don. And Subtle says that yes, he will do, and he will not only meet him, he will go and relieve him of all the money that he has. And it would have been very good for him if Doll had been there. But would Doll were in her place to pick his pockets now. So he says that it would have been good if Doll were there with him. But Face says that if he is determined to rob him of his wealth, then he can do it. So he says, I pray you prove your virtue. So now go and prove your capacity, how much you are able, how successfully you can pick his pockets. And Subtle also consents to do the same, and with this Subtle and Face, they exit. So as we come to the end of the analysis of Act 4 Scene 5, we find that Mammon uh, leaves disappointed, he is heartbroken, and he is made to feel guilty of his actions by both Face and Subtle. He is made to feel that because he did something immoral with the woman, he involved himself with the woman, it has caused a huge sin in the house, and therefore he is deprived of his fortune. So we can see that how blindfolded Mammon is, and we can also see his extreme uh, credulity in how much he believes them, the extent of his belief in Face and Subtle, which finally lands him here. So Mammon's greed once again surfaces, like I said, that like he doesn't want to, like even if little bit of the philosopher's stone of the experiments is left, he would love to get hold of it, which once again highlights or emphasizes his extreme or his excessive greed. So with this, we come to the end of the analysis. I hope you find the lecture helpful. So do give it a like, share it, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.